So Week 12 Fantasy Show Thanksgiving edition. Obviously a big week in fantasy coming up as we only have 3 weeks left in the regular season. Before we get into all the chaos and matchups for the Thanksgiving week, let's real quickly look at what happened last week. And 2 weeks ago, it was a very interesting week as all the bottom teams won and the top teams lost. This week was even more interesting as it sent the standings into a crazy tight fiasco. Looking at the first matchup of last week, myself versus Zach. And Zach pulls off the big win, 117 to 105. My team with a disappointing 105 score against a very beatable 117. But GG's to Zach as it gets him to 4-7, puts me now under 500 for the first time this year at 5-6. We don't like to see that after a couple losses. Obviously, the big story in this game was my two players getting injured in the game, which severely cost me. Burrow, after throwing a touchdown pass, was injured and then lost for the rest of the season, so that's great. And then Kenneth Walker went out in the first quarter early on and only got me 2.6 points. So that hurt me quite a bit. As we've seen, a huge game for Calvin Ridley, though, 31 points. He woke up all of a sudden. I'm going to need him to continue to keep doing that. This week, my wide receivers all did good, but my running backs shit the bed, as who I traded for. Jacobs did not have a very good game, as there was no running room. And and then Zach on his side had a solid performance from Tua, and it was really Rashad White and Devin Singletary carrying Zach's team, and George Kittle as well. He had Kittle and White in the afternoon games. That was the only players he had left, and they both got critical touchdowns in those games to get him a good lead and a good cushion to make it pretty hard with what I had remaining to come back. So GG's to Zach. Very big win for him to keep him in the mix and keep him out of last place now. So big win for him, and he needed it. I would have loved to have that win, but now I'm going to be in this muck of just trying to make the playoffs and avoid last place, and all that's up in the air at the moment. So we'll see. Obviously, I made a few deals with the quarterback going down, which we'll talk about when we get to the trades part, but a rough week for my team. Anybody have any comments on this matchup?
Last place will be interesting.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely
Oh,
will be
geez.
now with Zach getting a
Unlucky.
win. Yeah, a little bit of unluck with two players. I mean, it's hard enough when one player gets hurt during a game and doesn't barely get you any points. But then when a second one does, it's going to be hard to score a lot of points, which that's my team did not score a lot of points. And that's how you lose, especially with a Zach's beatable score. Because 117 I could have beat if they both probably just played full games. But that's fantasy football. So we move on to the next matchup of last week, and Rat called that he would take care of Matt, and he did easy, pretty handedly, 99 to 135. Big win to Rat to send him to 7-4. Sends Matt now in a spiral down to 6-5. Matt at one point was first in the league, looking pretty good. His wide receivers were carrying his team. He was looking good, and now he's scored a lot of under 100 weeks the last few weeks and lost a lot of games. So now he is by no means in any type of position to guarantee a playoff spot with the way his team's been performing lately. He had a good solid game from Justin Fields though. His first game back, he looked pretty good. But Najee Harris obviously did nothing, only got 12 carries as it was Warren's backfield as we talked about last week. So that's a big problem for Matt, which he tried to address at the trade deadline, which we'll talk about. Devontae Adams had a nice game, but it was Diggs struggling. So the continued theme for Matt, it seems like one of his star wide receivers does good, but he really, with the way his team is constructed, he needs both of them to pop off each week for him to have a chance to win. And ever since his losing streak and his spiral has begun, he has only one of them has been having a good game and the other one hasn't, and that's been what has been his problem. On Rat's side, he got just an average performance from Mahomes against the Eagles. They did not look good in the second half. Obviously, a big issue for Rat, Devon Achane, who he thought was back, and then as soon as he was back, was gone again, as he got hurt early on in the game. So that will be a thing. We'll see what happens with him. Obviously, Tyreek Hill had a big game. McLaurin did okay. Kelsey got the touchdown to save him, kind of, because although he had 7 catches, it wasn't a lot of yards and fumbled. DJ Moore, that's a good sight to see with Justin Fields back. He was targeting him like crazy, so that could be a big boost for Rat's team, maybe if Achane's out to overcome with DJ Moore with Fields back. James Cook had 19 on the bench as well, so maybe he could fill in if Achin's not there. So some question marks for Rat's team, but he gets a win now in first place. When we look at the standings, you'll see off points for. So Rat, your comments after a big win over Matt.
Matt's team is falling apart.
Uh-huh.
Putting up 135 with Achin coming back for literally one play is kind of a nice score for me.
Yep.
But hopefully I can find a running back to fill in. Hopefully Cook can continue up or Achin
Okay.
somehow comes back.
All right.
We'll see.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments they'd like to make on this matchup?
Matt is cooked.
Matt is cooked. Zombie, Rat has now taken
know
over
Zombie
first place
definitely
from
wants
you.
some
Any
comments.
comments you'd like to make on Rat's win this week?
Alright, got lucky.
Lucky. Okay. Interesting. All right. Moving on to the next matchup. We had
Ooh.
Cheese versus Pussy in a monster win for Pussy as he scores 151 points out of nowhere, really. Nobody really called for that many points from him. So he gets a win to move to 6-5. Cheese falls to 5-6. You'll see a common theme when we go over these other games. There is a whole lot of teams at 5-6. But Pussy's not one of them. He is ahead of that pack at 6-5. So right where Pussy probably wants to be at the moment, with a huge game from Purdy, 26 points. That trade has looked like it's worked out very well for him, as he needed a quarterback and he traded for Purdy, and Purdy's put up 2 20-plus point games for him. Etienne, though, a little bit of a struggle once again. So he had those like 4 straight monster weeks, and then he's come back down to earth. His running backs did not really perform either. Javonte Williams had a back to earth game. Jacoby Myers didn't do much, but it was Tank Dell, Brandon Ayuk, Tyler Bass. It was his special teams. Tyler Bass and the Dallas defense combined for 40 points. You throw in Ayuk's big game, who Cheese traded him a few weeks ago. So, Cheese was talking a lot of shit last week about how Pussy and Pook had revived his season with the trades.
Well, Pook
And Ayuk, well, no, you said Pussy too.
You said
Pussy too.
I think
with
that trade's been more
Deontay Johnson. You were hyping him up after that good game from Deontay Johnson. And he's had some shit games, and now Ayuk drops 26 on your head this week. So,
I think it's been a pretty fair trade, though. I still
all
stand
right.
by that.
Well, Tank Dell,
Puck's a
who
trade,
he
though.
traded for this past week with Zombie, that worked out. So
I know,
Pussy's made a
Zombie's
couple.
fucking
Listen,
retard.
we shat on Pussy's trades early on in the season, but these ones he's made in these last few weeks when it's mattered most, he's made some good trades that have worked out for him so far. So you got to give him some props there with some of those trades. And 6-5 is a great spot to be at the moment. Really, you think if you just get one more win in the next 3 weeks, you probably, with how crazy these standings are, will make it. So big spot, big win for him. Huge team performance. Cheese, your comments after a disappointing 96 points and not really performing.
Team. Wow.
Okay, well, what would you like? You want me to go
Your
through
team
Dak
ain't doing
Prescott,
anything,
Shut the
who
fuck
you
up,
traded?
first
So, okay,
place.
let me go through your team. Dak Prescott, who you traded for, and traded away Stevenson when you, quote, said, I'll never use Stevenson. What do I need Stevenson for?
I
For
still
a
don't need
QB upgrade where your QB that you previously had did the same as
No,
Prescott.
he did 3 point worse. Excuse you.
Okay, who? The other quarterback? Who was it?
Goff had
Goff.
13 points.
Okay,
Goff
all right.
also looked
Excuse
not
me.
great.
That 3 points really made a
Goff
difference.
also looked not great.
So
and they
13 to
pulled-
16. He looked good at the end when they came back and won. Aaron Jones then consequently
Yeah, he
gets
died.
injured again.
Yep.
I remember when you said, what do you need Stevenson for? I asked you, well,
I
what
have
if
Kyron.
Aaron Jones gets
I have
hurt
Kyron.
again? Okay, so you're just going to run
Look,
Kyron
here are
and
my
Gibbs and hope
comments.
none of them get banged
Here are
up.
my comments.
Okay, go ahead.
Big ups to Pusa. His team had a great week.
Uh-huh.
Nothing you can do about that. My team, not a great week. Gibbs, the upsides, Gibbs looks solid. CD is still solid. Puka looked really good too, and with Cup hurt, it will be him again. My special teams let me down. And Deontay Johnson. So hopefully with that candidate getting fired, I'll do better.
Okay. Well, this matchup with you this week is the perfect example why when you bitch and complain about most points for, it doesn't really matter because, yeah, you got shit on by a lot of points
Yeah,
for
my team
against
didn't
this
perform-
week,
yeah, yeah.
but your team didn't put up any points to deserve
Well,
to
do you
win.
see me
So
bitching? I
the
was only
points
bitching when I
for
lost to
matters.
Pook.
Well, you did mention earlier how yes, you took back the most points against, so
Well,
you were
that's
happy
overall.
about that. So okay, well, I'm just saying it doesn't matter much when your points for. The points for is more important than the points
Golfer, as
against.
I say, I'm following the pattern. My
If you
scheduled win
had
is this week.
Okay, if you had a very high points for and you were this record, then
I
I would
want to
agree
say
with you
something.
bitching about your points against. But when you
I want to
don't,
say something.
all right,
My
go ahead.
scheduled win is this week.
I apologize to Pusa for shitting on his team. I
Oh,
think we all should
okay.
apologize to Pusa because
Yes.
I think we were all wrong with that
Yeah.
and his choices, and these choices have led him to like a 3-game. It's like
Well,
3-1
hold
since
on,
we
hold
shit on
on.
him.
Time out, real.
I'm
We
just
shit on
saying.
Pussy at the beginning of the season for the trades
That
he
is
made,
true.
and those were not good. I didn't. I don't think anyone really these last few weeks has
That is
shit on
true.
Pussy
I
too
like the
much for
tank
the
house trade.
trades.
I think that
We
was
may have
great.
shit on his team overall, but we weren't shitting on the trades that he made
That
necessarily.
is true.
And those have been good. Those have basically been what has
But
revised his
I
team.
did say Pusa was headed to the dump, but now it
Yeah.
looks like he's rebounding himself too.
Long way to
That's
go, but he is looking in a
Yeah.
very good position at the moment. I will agree with that. All right, moving on to, I would say, the
Oop.
shocker of the week. A lot of people were giving Tyler the edge in this matchup. Tyler was hyping up his trades, changed his name to the Art of the Deal. He was feeling, I guess, really good about all the moves he made. He felt like he was going to beat Pook. We all kind of thought he would beat Pook. And then Pook just laid the hammer down on him, 128 to 97. Another bad score for Tyler, only 97 points after all those deals. Pook gets a huge win to keep his season alive at 5-6. With Zach winning, whoever lost this game would have been in the basement. So big win for Pook to stay out of the basement. Now Tyler falls to 4-7 and on points for is in last place at the moment. So the art of the deal, he can't make any more trade deals as the trade deadline has passed. We'll see if his players start performing moving forward for these last 3 weeks. Looking at his lineup, he had Lamar Jackson, who had a nice game on Thursday night. Eckler, though, disappointed with only 7 points. He did trade for Tony Pollard from me, which, as soon as I made the trade, I said, yep, Tony Pollard will finally get a touchdown this week. And sure enough, he got a touchdown. So that worked for him as he got 18 big points. He also got Godwin in the deal, who kind of just did okay. Hollywood Brown, who he was trying to hype up and trade in those different trade offers, he did absolutely nothing. Only 3 points. Andrews obviously is a big blow now, as he's without him. He had to make a move to get a tight end. So that hurt him, having him being injured early in the game and only get 4 points. Hopkins had a solid game, got a touchdown to get him 15, but his kicker didn't do much, and Washington defense did pretty decent, 12 points. I mean, they gave up 31 to the Giants, but they still got 12 points, so that's pretty good. On Pook's side, C.J. Stroud, kind of just a mediocre game, although his team won. He had 3 interceptions, which hurt him quite a bit. He had to play Keaton Mitchell on Thursday night, and that didn't do anything. Saquon, though, had a monster, out of nowhere, monster game. 30 huge points for Saquon Barkley. I don't think anybody was expecting that type of scoreline from him with the Giants. So we'll see if that can continue moving forward. That'd be a big boost to Pook's team. Tyler Lockett just did okay. Mike Evans got a TD to get him 15. Schultz had a pretty good game from a tight end. Dotson, who he picked up to use, got 11. Myers had a nice game as a kicker for Seattle as they kicked a ton of field goals in that game. And Miami's defense had a strong 15 points. So overall, a complete pretty solid performance from, tight end, wide receivers, running backs, quarterback, all solid to score enough points to get an easy win this week against Tyler. And stay out of last place. Anybody have any comments on this matchup, as most of us were saying Pook's team was going to be dead after this week? Tyler didn't
Pook's
do it.
team is still dead.
It
Okay.
refuses to die.
Yeah,
Still
this
dead.
has been about the second time now that people have called Pook's team going to be dead, and Pook has come up big each time. So I think Pook going forward would like us to announce each week that this will be the nail in the coffin, because it seems like Cheese a couple weeks ago said he was going to end his season and then didn't, and now this week we were calling Tyler to win and then he didn't. So Pook seems to be just hanging in there somehow. So. All right, moving on to the next matchup. This one was another kind of blowout type score, as one team performed and one team did not. Bill gets a huge victory, 134 to 99 over Ernie, sending Bill to 7-4 in a very strong position to make the playoffs. At this point, after how Bill started, to be 7-4 tied for first and have now that chance at that bye, Bill is sitting in a great position as he's rolled off, what is this, like 5 or 6 wins now in a row or something? So huge win streak here at the perfect time for Bill end of the season. His team's definitely looking like one of the top teams to beat. He had Allen get him a very nice game on a bounce back. Montgomery had a nice game. So both these Detroit running backs are looking more than viable to get enough fantasy points to play them both. Chuba Hubbard, who he had to play because of bye, I mean, he got 8, not horrible. Keenan Allen had another monster game. Keenan Allen, after some slow games these last couple weeks, has been huge with some big-time performances. Waddle, just kind of average. Kincaid, though, another pretty solid game from tight end. And Nico Collins, who he started, had a nice game as well, coming back from injury. And the Buffalo Bills defense against those Jets. Gotta love it when your defense plays the Jets and Zach Wilson. 22 huge points. On Ernie's side, he rolled with Joshua Dobbs, who did okay. 17 points, not bad. McCaffrey obviously did his normal thing. And then it kind of went a little downhill. I mean, Romeo Dobbs had a really nice game, 16. But then Connor, he's getting some decent carries and rushing yards, but he hasn't been able to get into the end zone since coming back. So he's only ending up with 8 each week. And then it was the wide receiver struggle after Dobbs. Jordan Addison didn't do much. So that Dobbs to Addison connection wasn't really there. Laporta, who's been really good all year, he's kind of had a couple slow games these last few weeks. Slowed down a bit. And Smith and Jibba as well, under 10 points, not that great. Tucker and the Vikings defense, who he started, didn't do much as the Denver actually put up some points. So overall, Ernie just kind of had a lot of mediocre performances, all like around less than 10 points, besides Dobbs and McCaffrey. So overall, that's what gets you 99 points when you don't have any monster games from anybody. And a big, easy victory for Bill. Ernie now 5-6 as well, so he's in that muck with a lot of other people. 5-6. Ernie really needs Justin Jefferson to come back, and he needs him to come back now. Because if he doesn't come back,
yesterday.
if he doesn't come back for these final 3-game stretch, Ernie could be in serious jeopardy. Well, I don't know if that's confirmed yet, Cheese. I haven't read no report where that's confirmed. He just has said he doesn't care about your fantasy team. So Ernie, he said today he doesn't care about your fantasy team. So I don't know if that means he's coming back this week or if he's just gonna wait till after the bye. But it's gonna be rough for Ernie at 5-6 to get those probably 2 out of 3 wins with Jefferson probably not going to be out for the next 2 games and maybe only back for the last game of the season. So we'll see if Ernie can somehow, at this point for Ernie, it's real easy. Just find a way to win a couple games, get into the playoffs, and then with Jefferson back with McCaffrey, maybe he can turn on some magic there with those 2 big-time players for the playoff stretch. But Bill's team definitely looking more solid. Anyone have any comments on this one?
Bill wins. Not surprising.
Let me go to Rat, because the Rat, I think, was the only one that picked Ernie to win.
No, we actually all picked up Ernie with the upset because we thought Justin Jefferson would play.
I didn't.
But
I picked Bill.
Okay,
I didn't. I don't.
everybody else
No.
did pick up the upset.
I'm pretty
You
sure
won
I
the
picked
upset
Bill.
cover.
I'm
No,
gonna
you
go
can
back and
watch
look.
the video, buddy.
I'm gonna go back and look.
I remember. A
picked
couple of us
Bill
picked Ernie because the upset.
I don't know about that.
I don't know who it was, but I will say, the one team if I'm worried about, I'm not worried about Zombie's team, but Bill,
Yes.
me and
Yep.
Bill could be fighting up the
hmm
storm over here.
It
if
would
I
not
have to
surprise
face
me
Bill
with
in the
this
playoffs.
team if Bill is in the finals. I could see
Yeah.
this team making the finals. It's very
Good
strong.
luck, Bill.
Very, very
Straight
strong.
to Zombie.
hmm All right. Zombie, did you have any comments you want to make?
Ernie's cooked.
Ernie's cooked. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
You know what? I'm not gonna say anybody's cooked because it always backfires.
Yes. That's
All I'm
probably
gonna
smart
say
of
is
you.
that I predicted Bill will continue and
Yep.
not lose a game for the rest of the season. Bill's team's on fire. Hopefully he doesn't choke the playoffs like every year.
Yeah, that is a good point. If he does get that bye, could be some flashbacks to when he had a top seed a few years ago and got a bye and then was out in the first round. So we'll see, though. Looking very strong at the moment and in a great position to make it. All right, moving on to the final
Love to
matchup
see
of
that.
last week, and this was a lower scoring affair. So a little bit interesting, but Zombie falls to slaps 106 to 93. So he loses to Slaps in a low-scoring game. Slaps definitely only put up 106, was definitely beatable, but Zombie's team only 93 points, falls to 7-4. Slaps gets a huge win to go to 5-6 as well to join that party. Zombie had his Eagles boys on Monday night who he needed them to come up clutch and get like 50 some points to beat him, and they did not. So Slaps traded him away. We wondered if Slaps would regret trading away those Eagles boys because it might cost him a win this week, and it did not though because they did not put up enough. Hurts only 18. Swift had a nice game, but A.J. Brown, 1.8 points for A.J. Brown, only one catch for 8 yards. Yikes. Cooper Kupp as well got injured in the game, so he only got 2 points. So a lot of injuries this week, but they were a lot of injuries middle, like early on in the game, where it cost a lot of people's teams because they barely got any points and then they were out for the rest of the game. So there was a lot of those this week that hurt a lot of people. He had to start Pat Freiermuth, who did absolutely nothing in his first game back from injury. Deebo Samuel didn't do a whole lot as Zombie was refusing to trade him in any trade talks this past week before the deadline, and he didn't look that great. McManus did okay, and Houston's defense just did average. But overall, it was really just Brian Robinson and Swift, so his running backs did good. But then the whole bottom half of the lineup, all his wide receivers got under like 10 points, including 2 of them only combining for like 3.9. If you tell me A.J. Brown and Cooper Kupp in a week get 3.9, I mean, one of them got hurt, but still, A.J. Brown 1.8 really hurt Zombie, as he would have had a chance to make this really close on Monday night if A.J. Brown just got any type of points. So GG's and Slaps on Slaps side. He had Herbert have a really nice game against Zombie. So Zombie's Charger boy did well against him. Derrick Henry, who he has traded away, did not do anything. Again, that's like 2 weeks in a row now. Mixon, though, had a very strong game on Thursday night. St. Brown continues to dominate. Christian Kirk, though, was a backseat this week, as it's been the Kirk show, but it wasn't this week. It was the Ridley show. So hopefully that continues for my sake, but not for Slaps. Trey McBride just did okay, but he's now traded away. Garrett Wilson did absolutely nothing, 0.9. Hopefully the quarterback change now for the Jets will hopefully improve Wilson, as Wilson had a very nice game last week against me, but then this week got absolutely nothing. And Hopkins and the Steelers defense did just okay. So a lot of averages performances on both sides, which gets you this lower scoring matchup. But GG's to Slaps as he pulled it out. He needed one of these type of wins to get him right back in the mix, and now he's there. Zombie, your comments after relinquishing first place, 7-4, kind of bad loss to Slaps. Your comments.
Slaps got lucky.
Typical Zombie, when he loses, the other team just got lucky.
I have a comment.
So you don't have any comments on your team only scoring 93 points?
No, that was, I mean, A.J. Brown put up 1 point and Kupp got hurt. Like,
okay.
No shot.
I mean, it wasn't just them two, though. I mean, your tight end did nothing. Deebo just kind of did 9 points. I mean, that's not good.
I will point out.
Hold on, let Zombie finish.
Yeah, I mean, I just had to start a tight end this week. They were my tight ends were on bye.
Mm-hmm.
But Slaps, you better hope this win gets you into the playoffs, buddy.
Well,
Oh, he's still going to need to win probably at least 2 out of 3. I mean, the way these standings are, 6 and 7 could possibly get one spot, but I don't know. I still think 7 and 7 is the mark you want to try to get to this year to make it. But we'll look at the standings in a second. Go ahead, Rat. What were you going to say on this?
I said it was Devontae Smith was going to have a better game, and let me tell Zombie something. If the whole game's not involving around A.J. Brown, it's Swift and Smith. So I think, like, through these next Eagles games, you're either going to lose points out on Swift or points out on Brown. So you're
okay.
Cooked,
so you don't think all 3 are going to go off?
No.
It's a fair point. I mean, there was some questions last week on the show on, what happens if the Eagles stack doesn't perform enough? How does Zombie win? And we see what happens, kind of.
Devontae Smith game.
We kind of see what happens if the Eagle stack doesn't get the points and all of them don't get the points. It's going to be tough. I mean, Zombie got 20 points from Brian Robinson, who has been coming on lately, but he still puts up way less than 100. So that's the downside of this stack.
Labs
ahead.
is mailed, but Zombie needed that loss because he's a fake first place team.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like it.
All
Um,
right.
look, I'm not saying Zombie team's like trash, but he's definitely
Yeah.
inflated in his
Okay.
standings.
I would agree with that. Looking at his team, I don't think it's the best team in the league to be
Like it's
first place.
it's a solid
I
team.
think Bill's team
But
is definitely better than Zombies. So I think it's fair. And I would say Rat's team is probably a little bit better than Zombies.
Slabs, look, Derrick Henry has a really good playoff schedule,
Hmm.
but not a good sign.
Well, he traded Derrick
Well, he
Henry away,
doesn't have
which we'll
Derrick
get
Henry
to.
anymore.
Yeah, we'll get
Went
Oh, I
to
to
that.
forgot.
Rams.
He fucking
Yeah.
the fucking billion
Yeah.
trades.
Well, we're about to get to
I
him
can't.
because there
I'm
was
not gonna be
trade
on that.
deadline central.
I take back all
Yeah.
comments about
Yeah.
Slabs' team until I see the
Okay.
team.
All right. So with all those matchups in the books for last week, week 11, here is the
Hey.
standings. What? What?
I
Oh,
see my
and
name.
as I mentioned earlier, when Slaps was in the party earlier, he said, "God, these standings are tight." And I said, "Yeah, they're tighter than your mom's pussy," and
Wow.
they definitely are. As we have Rat, the new first place team on points for at 7-4. Bill in the second spot at 7-4. Then Zombie falls to third place based on points for at 7-4. So three teams all at 7-4. Then two teams at 6-5.
Man.
Matt, who has been in a free fall at 6-5. Pussy, who has picked up some big wins after those trades, 6-5. They are both looking in a decent spot still to get in, but the work's not done. Then we see here from 6th all the way to 10th. 5 and 6 muck mayhem that none of us want to be in. Myself currently would be in 6th place and make the playoffs on points for. Luckily for me, my points for is higher than a lot of the teams below by a decent margin, but not safe enough. I'll need my team to keep performing these next few weeks and try to pick up some wins, hopefully. Then Ernie gets the 7th spot at the moment, but it's very tight, 120 or
You're
1,271
only up by like 40
to
or 30,
yeah
no,
one
35.
yeah. So it's very very close at 5
Great
and
math,
6.
buddy.
Cheese, Slaps, and Pook all at 5 and 6, and look at their points for. Cheese 1 2 3 4. Slaps 1 2 3 3. So by a point. And then Pook at 1 2 2 7, only like 7 points behind. So that is so tight. And then you have the 4 and 7 teams. Everybody is 4 and 7 or better this season. Last year at this time, I was like 1 win. So this year, even last place is 4 and 7. So nobody really, besides like the 7 and 4 teams, and actually not even them mathematically yet. I mean, if they lose 3 straight, they're 7 and 7, and potentially if the
Can
4 and
everybody
7
finish
win.
7-7?
Probably not, based on who everyone plays these next few weeks. But
Sweet.
7 and 4s are looking good out of last place. I would say 6 and 5s are also pretty safe out of last place. But the 5 and 6s, any of them could easily end up in last place if these 4 and 7s continue to win. So it is anybody's guess on who is getting last place this year. It's anybody's guess on who's getting in the playoffs from spot 4 all the way to 7. I mean, there's 4 playoff spots right there that are really up for grabs, and even these 7 and 4s aren't anywhere near locked in the playoffs just yet. I mean, you would think they're pretty good. I mean, based on their points for, 2 of them are definitely way bigger points for than everybody else down here. So you would think they're pretty safe at 7 and 4, but it's no checkmark guaranteed lock yet at this point. So it is a crazy tight standings. I can't. I mean, this is just too crazy to see this tight. I don't think I've ever seen it this crazy where, everyone's within 3 games of each other. So it is going to be a very interesting last 3 weeks. It just makes these next 3 weeks games even more massive to see who's going to get in all these playoff spots. All right, that being said, there was the standings. Let's take a look. Obviously, we had our trade deadline come and pass yesterday, and boy, was there a lot of trade deadline activity yesterday during the day before. So a lot of moves being made from a lot of different teams trying to make some moves on things they need. We will start with a trade that happened a few days ago before the deadline. Where before the Sunday game started, I traded away Tony Pollard and Chris Godwin and Pickens to Tyler for Josh Jacobs, who did not have a good game, and Devontae Smith, who did have a decent game. Obviously, I had given up on Pollard, but I was going to keep and hold on to him if I didn't get an offer that I felt was good enough. And then me and Tyler came to this agreement where I thought this offer was good enough for me. I wanted a upgrade at wide receiver, which I thought I was getting with Smith, and he looked good. And then I thought Jacobs would continue to play well with the new coach, but they did not run the ball well, and they did not get on the goal line to give him a touchdown opportunity, where Pollard did score a touchdown. So we'll see if that continues and how that works out with running backs. Hopefully Jacobs can bounce back. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with the trade. We'll see what happens with it moving forward. Anybody have any comments they'd like to make on this? I'm going to keep going through them. If there's a trade you want to comment
You
on,
won.
or it's your
Actually, no,
trade,
keep
then
going.
I will stop.
You won.
You can intercept and see. The book's still
My
out.
boy
The
Devontae
book's still
Smith,
out.
you won.
The book's still out on that. All right, the second trade, Tyler was not done. He then turns around after Mark Andrews gets hurt on Thursday night. He then was looking for a tight end, so he trades with Slaps. He gets Derrick Henry and Trey McBride, the tight end from Arizona, he gives up Andrews, which is out pretty much most likely out for the season. Pollard, he gets back or he loses Pollard for Henry and get traded away Pickens. So I mean overall Pickens maybe can do something down the stretch with the new offense corner, but I don't know. So basically Henry and McBride for Pollard and maybe
Last
Andrews
one.
a little bit. Overall, I do like the trade a little bit more on Slap's side, just based off of what Pollard did this past week and how Henry has been looking. Yeah, and I don't know if Trey McBride's going to put up those 20-point games like he did against me 2 weeks ago. He looks more like a 10-point tight end, which is still solid. So it's a good pickup for Tyler from that standpoint. He had to get some type of usable tight end. So he downgrade on the running back a little bit. He just needs Henry to pick up. All right, moving on to the next matchup. This one was the smallest trade of the trade deadline, but it actually worked out for both sides this week. We'll see what happens future. Pussy picks up Tank Dell, the wide receiver, gives up Jalen Warren, who is looking like the RB1 now for Pittsburgh and looked very good. So Zombie got the running back. Pussy gets the wide receiver. Both of them had big games this past week. So overall, pretty fair, good trade. We'll see how it plays out moving forward. It's too early to tell if that one's going to be any massive swing one way or the other. Zombie, I'm assuming you liked it because you got a running back that you needed to upgrade, even though Tank Dell had a big game.
Yeah. And I just need another running back for the future.
All right. Then we moved on to the trade that we
Cool.
talked about a little bit this past week, or when we were talking the Week 11 matchups. Cheese trades with Tyler again, so Tyler was very, very busy. Already 3 trades here. Tyler obviously had Prescott and Lamar, so Tyler was shopping Prescott, trades away Prescott and Madison for Jared Goff and Ramondre Stevenson. So Tyler upgrades at running back and downgrades at quarterback, but it wasn't even the quarterback he's starting. So overall, I think a pretty solid trade for Tyler. He had the QB depth. He seen Cheese was looking to upgrade at QB, and so he upgrades at running back. I think Stevenson is definitely better than Madison. So overall, I like that trade a little bit more from Tyler just because you're upgrading at running back more than at quarterback. But Prescott has had some big games, so if Prescott can keep those big games going moving forward, then obviously that will help Cheese from the quarterback position. Cheese, your comments on the trade?
Very happy.
Okay.
I don't give a shit about Madison. He's already been traded.
Okay.
Dak, obviously, I think has more upside than Goff.
Okay.
He's been more consistent.
All
Works
right.
out for both parties.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, then we move to a trade that was made between me and Ernie. So Ernie actually got involved on the trade deadline for once, making a trade with me. Obviously, with Burrow going down on Thursday night, I needed to address my quarterback situation. So I traded away Gus Bus, who had another big game on Thursday night, and Ernie wanted, and Tyler Boyd for Trevor Lawrence and Kareem Hunt. Obviously, this is solely just me trying to find some type of usable quarterback. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence had a huge week this past week, so I'm hoping he can continue to do those type of weeks. He obviously has had a kind of poor season to this point besides this last week, so hopefully this is the upswing for Lawrence, and I bought at the right time. But either way, even if he comes back down to earth, at least it's better than what was on the waivers. And Gus Edwards, who has been balling out, I had the backup for Walker, and I had the getting Hunt back as well made me be okay with giving up Gus Bus, even though he's been popping off. Overall, I think solid trade for both of us. Ernie gets a running back that he is hoping continues to pop off, and I get the quarterback that I need. Anybody want to make any comments on that?
Fine. Surprised you got Ernie to trade.
Yeah, well,
was
it's a
good.
small enough trade where Ernie was
Hello?
okay with doing it. Hello, Pussy.
Pussy.
All right. Well, we've already gone through all the matchups from last week, but I'll let you real
Nah,
quickly.
you run it back.
I'll let you real quickly go and make some comments after your huge win this past week against Cheese to put you now to 6-5 in a very strong position in the standings.
You know,
Mhm.
I would just like to say that Cheese would talk so much shit on my team
Okay.
at the beginning of the season,
A lot of
and
us did,
then just
not
does
just
that.
Cheese. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Cheese, do you have any comment? I want to hear your comments on that.
He gave you
I-
props.
He had a good week. You know, Aaron Jones died. My special
Okay,
teams
buddy.
were bad.
Not making up 50
What do you mean?
points.
Okay, what fucking happened, dumbass?
Not
Yeah, but
making up
Aaron
50
Jones, it didn't
points.
matter if he died or not.
He wasn't
Pussy scored
coming.
I'm
150.
saying a
Maybe.
combination of him dying and my special
Okay.
teams doing nothing,
Okay.
and Deontay Johnson also doing nothing. So
Okay.
the rest of my team
Pussy,
outside of that is fine.
we did hold our hands up and admit you can watch it earlier in the show.
I-
Rat did. I mentioned that
I
you've made some
apologize,
really good
Houston.
trades. We shed on you for your trades early in the season, which rightfully so were not very good trades. But these last few weeks, the 3 deals you have made have
Great
all worked
job,
out very well for you. Purdy has done really good. Tank Dell did good this week for you. And then the other one you made, who was that with? What was the other? You made one other one. I don't even remember off the top of my head. But anyways, you had 3.
I traded Stevenson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yes.
I
Yeah.
did I did the Purdy trade. That was
Yes.
huge.
That was big for you, yes. Because he's popped off. And then you had Tank Dell this week who did good, even though
I
Warren.
Yep,
apologize
Tank
to
Dell.
everyone here.
Yeah. So you have
kinda
made.
Wish I would have.
I will say these trades you made these last few weeks have got you in this position. They have got you those wins. Because without those trades and those players popping off, you probably wouldn't have won these. So GG's to you after your beginning of the season where your trades were not very good. You have responded big time and you are in a good position. So we will give you credit on that, even though we were shitting on you early in the season. So we did say that earlier. So any other comments you'd like to make? Although you're not secure yet, even though you're 6-5, the standings are very tight. But I'm sure you're feeling good at the moment.
Yeah, this is rich. To hear all this is rich.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, just remember, as easily as it was shit on early in the season, and now you're getting props, it can easily go back to being shit on if you lose the last 3 weeks and don't make the playoffs. So, which could possibly happen. I mean,
Yeah, well,
you gotta win.
touch
You
on that
figure
in the
you
next
gotta
one,
win
my
one
matchup
out
this
of the
week.
remaining 3 games probably to get in. So.
I
yeah.
can't say I'm confident in any one of them.
Oh,
so,
all right. Well, we'll get to that in the preview here in a minute.
Yep.
We're going over the trade
Okay.
deadline trades real quick. All right, so we went over that one with Ernie, and then finally there was one that's not showing on here because I had to push it through myself today. Slaps made a move to get Tony Pollard from Tyler for Henry. Oh wait, no, we did go over that one. Sorry. Yeah, it was. Did we?
You're on the last
Oh,
one,
yeah,
buddy.
yeah, we're on the
Go
last
up.
one. All right, we already went over it. Obviously, the last one then, Cheese with Matt. So Matt with Najee Harris looking pretty bad and not even the top running back there anymore. He makes a deal to get Madison from Cheese, and Cheese picks up Cortland Sutton, who's had a couple nice games for the Broncos recently. So overall, solid trade for both sides. It fills possible needs. Both sides, definitely for Matt, needs a running back. I don't know if Madison's going to be the answer to fill Matt's running back needs, but at least he's a starting running back and not like Najee Harris, who's now second string running back. Cheese, comments you'd like to make on this?
Happy with that trade. Sutton's been on one, although I start this week, just terrible matchup. But the Broncos are apparently back.
Yes,
Sutton
we are.
Is the red zone. Sutton is the red zone guy, so I think he's a solid flex guy going forward.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
You root against your Broncos every week.
Yep. And I still will be betting against them this week against the Browns because I don't think that offense has any chance to move the ball against the Browns. But they're winning. They're winning ugly. They're somehow winning these games, and they're 5-5, and they're ahead of the Chargers. So I'll take it. If you would have told me this would be the scenario 5 or 6 weeks ago, I would have said you're fucking high, based on giving up 70 points in an NFL game. But they have bounced back. And that's been part of Pussy's bounce back as well. He's bounced back as well as the Broncos have bounced back.
Right.
So he had faith in them. All right, so those were the trade deadline. A lot of action this year at the deadline, so no more trades moving forward for the rest of this season. So it'll all just come down to waivers. If anything crazy happens, obviously we know it's the NFL. Injuries happen, so these next few weeks, if any massive injuries happen, it's going to be big blows to any of these teams moving forward because the waivers are dry as can be. All right, moving to week 12. 3 weeks, as I said, left in the season. We went over the standings. They're tight as can be. So these matchups become huge. So looking real quickly here at starting at the top with my matchup versus Zombie. As I mentioned, a massive matchup this week as Zombie edged me. This is also the start of the revenge games. As these next three opponents you have already played at the start of the season, weeks 1 through 3. So these are revenge type matchups. As we said in week 1, Zombie did edge me out. So he got the win in that week, so I'm hoping for some revenge. At the moment, Sleeper has it projected for Zombie to get the win 122 to 107, so kind of a blowout for Zombie. I have Trevor Lawrence against Houston, Josh Jacobs against Kansas City, Kenneth Walker on Thursday on Thanksgiving against the 49ers. Not a great matchup. He's also banged up and injured and probably won't play, so Zach Charbonnet will fill for him. Not a great matchup, but hopefully Charbonnet, who does get some passing game, a little bit more than Walker, as we saw this past week, he ended up with 11 once he came in because he got some catches. So I'm hoping, San Fran might be winning the game and Charbonnet can get some checkdowns. Calvin Ridley, after his huge game against Houston, I'm hoping for a sneaky shootout in that Jacksonville-Houston game as both teams have been scoring. So hopefully it will be a low-key shootout between these two young quarterbacks in Lawrence and Stroud. Devontae Smith against Buffalo on Sunday. Could be a decent game there. Hawkinson against Chicago on Monday night, so I have a Monday night player, Thursday night player, Sunday night player. Metcalf as well on Thursday night. Going to need to come up big, Metcalf will, if they're going to beat the 49ers. Jake Elliott, who struggled this past week against Buffalo this week. Hopefully he can get some more field goals. Cleveland's defense against those Broncos. Even though Russ has been playing better, I still like the Cleveland defense. On Zombie side, he's got Hurts against that Buffalo team on Sunday. Jaylen Warren against Cincinnati could be very good. Then the other Eagles boy, Swift against Buffalo. A.J. Brown against Buffalo. Cooper Kupp against Arizona. If he plays, is he going to play? I don't know if he's going to play.
No, he ain't playing.
So he'll have to switch him out. So right now they're projecting Kupp for 19 points. So we'll see if that
He's not playing.
changes. Yeah. So he'll be most likely moving Debo to there and
somebody.
starting
He's got 2 open bench spots.
Robinson.
So, I mean,
No, McVay said he might play.
He might play.
He's a 90 get 9.
Okay.
he ain't playing, buddy.
Has a chance to miss no game action. Okay, so he's got a chance. So we'll see what happens with Kupp. Kyle Pitts back off the bye against the Saints, and Debo, as we said, on Thursday against the 49ers. So that Seattle 49ers game will be big. Obviously, the Eagles game will be big for both of our teams. McManus against Houston and Colts defense against Tampa Bay. Obviously, I'm going to need some help. I'm gonna need a big game from Jacobs. I'm gonna need Ridley to have another nice game. I'm gonna need Lawrence to have another nice game, and then I'm gonna need that Eagles game to go Devontae Smith's way like it did this past week. Hopefully, A.J. Brown has another shit game, and Devontae Smith gets all the catches, just like this past week is what I need to have happen. Obviously, I need Hawkinson and Metcalf to do their part as well if I'm going to have any chance to beat Zombie's team this week. Obviously, I'm going to pick myself and hope that what I just said happens. But if any of my players get hurt or if some of them don't perform, I can't get away with my running backs doing shit, my wide receivers doing good like last week, or vice versa. My running backs doing good and my wide receivers doing shit. If any of that happens, I'm going to lose this week. So I need a strong, solid 130-ish performance from my team if I'm going to knock off Zombie. All right, Cheese, who's winning this matchup?
I would like if you lost, but I think you're going to pull it out.
Really? Okay, interesting.
I don't believe in Kupp, even if he plays doing much. Kupp is a bum.
Oh, okay.
And, the Eagles boys have not been looking amazing.
All right.
So I mean, I think your team is fine. Ridley's trending up. Hawk has a good matchup. Um,
Hopefully
Jacobs is a
Jefferson
decent
is definitely
matchup.
out this week, so that will help Hawk, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I think it'd be close. It'd be really
Mhm.
close, but who's like the if who's the fill-in Robinson if Pup is out?
I mean, I would guess. I mean, Zombie can tell us, but
Yeah, I'll play
I would guess he'd
3
move
running
Debo to wide
backs.
receiver and play Robinson
Yeah,
against Dallas. Not the greatest of matchups, but it's Thanksgiving.
I think it'll be very close. But
Okay.
I'm gonna pick Golfer.
All right. Rat.
Jesus' comments were pretty stupid. He said the Eagles boys were doing bad. That was one game. But I
Okay.
do think Zombie gets screwed again with a Devontae Smith game
Oh. All
over
right. We
AJ
hope.
Brown.
We hope.
And
Come on.
I'll say that Golfer pulls it out by a slight margin because of that.
Hmm.
And Ridley and Jack Stack look good, and I think they have a low-key, like you said, a shootout. That could be a really good game to watch on
Hmm.
Sunday.
All right.
So, yeah. Your running backs suck though this week. Like it's gonna be hard. That's
Well, he's
tough
got
matchup.
Charm. He's got Charm before.
I know. I'm just saying it's very
Yeah, I
tough
mean, they're not
matchup.
the greatest of matchups. 49ers and Chiefs are
But you
obviously
pull it out,
tough.
buddy.
But Swift was able to run the ball against the Chiefs some,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
hopefully Jacobs can have a bounce back
Swift is
game
better.
after last week. Okay, buddy. All right, Pussy, who's winning this one? Is Pussy here?
I think
Okay.
Zombie is going to win.
Okay.
I just do.
All right.
Um,
Fair enough.
I just think Hurts and Brown had a shit week last week.
Yep,
I think
and they'll
that's
have
going to
a
be
bounce
bad.
back. Yep.
I mean, Warren, his offensive coordinator, got fired, so that's going to be the leash is off on him.
Yeah.
Swift looked great last night.
Hmm.
Thank you.
I just see the positives on Zombie's team.
Yep, and I can see that. I would not disagree with that. Obviously, the way my season's gone, usually when a player does shit and then comes up against me, they do pretty decent. So I could see AJ Brown having a monster game, possibly. But I'm gonna hope Rat's right and it's a Devontae Smith game. All right, Zombie, you getting the win this week to go to 8-4?
Yeah, I'm gonna win.
Okay.
My boy Cup's gonna play. AJ Brown's not gonna get no bullshit 1 point,
Okay.
and we're gonna move along to
All right.
regain the first place.
Ooh, to regain first place. Okay, interesting. All right, to moving on to the second matchup of the week, we have a big one here. Two 6-5 teams, the only two 6-5 teams, two teams as well that might have a little personal outside shit talk as well. Put into this matchup possibly Matt versus Pussy, the St. Louis boys. Maybe they'll go out for some beers or to the strip club after this matchup. Pussy, what do you think?
No
No,
chance.
no chance of that happening. Man.
Yep. No
Okay.
chance.
At the moment, Sleeper has Matt projected to win 113 to 103. So we'll see if that happens. But Matt's been on a downtrend. He's lost a few in a row. He was once in first place. Now, falling down. Could miss the playoffs if he loses this game. So it's a big game.
Yeah,
Matt.
emphasis on
Yeah.
no chance
No
because,
Oh, okay.
buddy, if I showed up, I might get robbed.
Oh.
He don't got no money.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you're saying Matt's so desperate that he might turn to robbing you.
I mean,
One's at the
it
strip
sounds
club
like
right now.
this. I mean, this is crazy talk. I can't believe this shit. It's entertaining every day.
Yeah. Well, hey, he did pay his Final Fantasy installment yesterday, though. I messaged him saying, the final payment for the fantasy was due, and he messaged me back and said, all right, I'll go to the side street and beg for it, and maybe I'll send it to you. So, whatever you got to do, Matt, to get your money in life, I guess, go ahead and do that. I don't know how we've gotten to this point, but I guess, don't fall in love with strippers. All right, Matt has Justin Fields on Monday night against Minnesota. So Monday night game against Minnesota. Fields had a nice game back from injury last week. We'll see if that continues in Minnesota. Najee Harris is still in there. Is he not playing
What else does he
Madison? He just acquired Madison.
He might probably didn't move it yet.
Oh, maybe he hasn't
You know
switched
him.
it yet. All right, yeah, he always
Remember,
waits till last minute.
the
I would
kids are.
expect he will move Madison
He's
in
taking
there for
care of the
Najee
kids.
Harris, especially after what Najee did last week, and now he's not even getting a lot of the carries. Pacheco against the Raiders. Pacheco looked decent, but hasn't been able to get in the end zone the last few weeks. Diggs, can we get a Diggs sighting against the Eagles? Big game for Buffalo. They're going to need to try to win this one against the Eagles. Can Diggs have a pop-off game against the Eagles? We'll see. Adams against Kansas City. So another big time matchup there for Adams going against that Kansas City team who needs a win. Komet in there against Chicago as well on Monday night. So the Fields to Komet connection is what Matt's hoping for. Thielen in there against Tennessee in the flex, and Bucker against the Raiders, and Denver's defense against Cleveland should be a pretty good matchup for Denver as Cleveland's quarterback's rough. On Pussy's side, he's got Purdy on Thursday night against Seattle on Thanksgiving. So when the food is digesting in Pussy's little stomach, he can watch his quarterback play on Thursday night. Travis Etienne against Houston. We'll see. Etienne's had a couple slow games. We'll see if he picks it back up against Houston. That could be a shootout, as we already talked about. Williams against Cleveland. A little bit of a rough matchup against Cleveland's defense. We'll see. Demario Douglas in there off the bye against the Giants. Tank Dell against Jacksonville. Jonnu Smith in there against the Saints. Who is your tight end? Is that really your tight end?
I mean, dude,
Oh, you don't
I'm
have a tight
struggling.
end. Okay, I gotcha. All right, well, we'll see what Jonnu can do against the Saints. Ayuk against, so he's got the Purdy to Ayuk connection on Thursday night. Bass against Philly, who had a nice game, and the Dallas defense against Washington. Washington does turn over the ball quite a bit, so it could be decent for Dallas there. Both defenses have pretty good matchups this week, so I think this matchup will be pretty close, closer than what Sleeper projects. I think Pussy will score more than 103 points. I like some of his matchups quite a bit this week. If Matt switches out Najee Harris for Madison, oof, this is tough. For some reason, I just have a feeling Diggs is going to have a monster game, and Adams, I think, might have another nice game. It's tough. Tough. I think I'm going to take Matt just because of his wide receivers. I think they have big games, and I think some of Pussy's wide receivers come back down to earth. Like Tank Dell, I don't know if he does as good as he did. Like maybe it's a Nico Collins game, or if Noah Brown comes back. I don't like Jonnu, and Brandon Ayuk just had a huge game. Maybe he doesn't do as good. Maybe it's Debo this time around. And I don't like Williams this week against Cleveland. So I think I just like a few of Matt's matchups, and I'm a little bit fearful about Fields having a big game against Minnesota. That game could maybe be a shootout on Monday night, and I think Matt just somehow finds a way to win a close, like 125 to 123, something like that type of game, and maybe stun Pussy, who's definitely been on the upswing, but maybe he has a little bit of a setback this week. All right, Cheese, who's winning this one?
What do I need?
They're both 6 and 5, so.
Yes, but I believe that Pusa can win more games
Okay.
going forward, so I need Matt to lose.
Okay, interesting.
And I would actually predict he was going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Najee, even though Najee's free, he's now the RB2.
Well, as I said, I'll be shocked if he plays Najee Harris. It's going to be Madison on Monday night.
That's not better. I don't think that's better.
I mean, he's getting more carry. He'll get probably more carries than Najee Harris.
Yeah, I mean, so Etienne's been looking shit lately. But it's Houston. It's a good matchup. Devontae, it's a good matchup. Douglas is a good matchup. Pusa's just got good matchups this week.
Okay, so you're taking
pulls it out.
All
I think
right.
Matt's team's low scoring again.
Okay, so you don't think his wide receivers have big games?
No, I
All
think
right, interesting.
maybe no. I don't think so.
Okay. All right, Rat.
I think Pusa pulls it out. As an
Okay.
Eagles fan, you said Diggs is going to have a good game.
Yep.
He is going to get shut down. I think this is the 1 week where it's
Wow.
opposite, and Matt's running backs have really good games, and
Okay.
his wide receivers just crumble and lose in the game.
Okay,
And Pusa
interesting.
will pull it out. And I do think it's going to be like a 115, 110 kind of Matt with the low scoring again.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think. I think
The
they're
only
better
thing
than
I will
Buffalo.
say to the Diggs
Not gonna
point
lie.
is
I
if
don't
Diggs
think
was in Marquis Scantley's position, he's making that
that is
catch.
true.
So
I
it's
just
not
don't
like that
think
Philly secondary's lockdown.
after we played the Chiefs,
So
I mean, and beat them with a pretty good defensive second half. I'm not afraid of Buffalo because they look like ass this year,
okay,
and I
interesting.
think they struggle against us.
Okay, all right, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Zombie, who's winning?
Um. Who needs to win more?
Why do
I
we get
mean,
that?
you
Just
be
Yeah,
the
I
judge of
think
that.
Matt
They're both 6-5. Matt has been on a losing streak, so I guess you could
the
say Matt.
question is, who do you think's gonna win? No, I can.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
No,
done,
just
buddy.
say
Listen, I'm going with
my
my
boy
boy,
who.
my boy Pusa.
so
Nope.
Okay.
fucked.
Wow. So 3 for Pussy. I was the only one that picked Matt. All right,
Wait,
interesting.
golfer, interesting revelation. If Matt loses this, he will
Yes.
not win a game the rest of the season.
Who does he play the last 2 weeks?
Oh yeah,
His
that is
entire
true.
team's on a
Actually,
bye next week, and then he plays
Oh.
Bill.
Wait, he plays Bill the final week, or he plays Bill when
He
his team's
plays
on a
Bill
bye?
week 14. He plays Tyler next week,
Oh,
but his entire team's
wow.
on a bye. Matt will
Interesting.
lose every single game the
Matt
rest of
Wow.
the
needs to
season.
win.
So this
How
is a
is
must-win then. This is a must-win
How
for
is
Matt.
his entire team on a bye week?
Who's on a
14?
bye?
That's
The
crazy.
Bears,
You know,
Fields.
Diggs, Adams, and
Diggs,
Adams on a
Adams,
bye.
Komet, and Madison.
Diggs and Adam are in a bye.
Wow.
Basically, the whole team.
His whole team is fucked.
Interesting. I mean, he does have Kyler. Wait, is Kyler on a bye
But
too?
where's his wide
No,
receivers?
he
Okay.
plugs in Kyler, but then who's
Okay.
his wide receivers and tight ends?
Isn't
No one.
Higgins hurt?
Rice.
Rice.
He'll probably go 2 tight ends. He'll go.
Freeman.
Wait, no, he can't go Komet. Yeah, I mean, I'll have to pick up someone. Yeah, I would
If
think.
Higgins is
Okay.
even alive.
So yeah, so that's a bad time to have a
like a
bye week when
must-win
you're
kind
6-5. Yeah, so this is a must-win for Matt's team then. Looking at the rest of it, I'm not gonna say Pussy has the chance to end Matt's season because we all know what happens when we say that about anybody's
If you
team.
look at
But if he does
disrespectful,
not
yeah.
win this week, you're right. It does not look good for him the last 2 weeks of the season. Okay. Pussy, you going to pull off this big win over Matt and send his team possibly into shambles?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think my team is unbelievable right now. I think Tank Dell is
Okay.
fucking insane.
Okay. All right. You
love
think
that
your team is
team.
unbelievable. I've never
I
really
love
heard that.
Purdy,
Okay.
Ayuk. I think once Dallas Goddard comes back,
Okay.
I think I'm in the conversation.
Okay. Fair.
For
Yep,
what?
fair.
I think Pusa can make the playoffs. What's doubting that?
Well, I think he's talking a little bit more than playoffs. I think conversation is conversation to win the whole thing. I think that's what
once
Pussy
the
was
playoffs
implying
start,
there.
I
it's
am.
anybody's
Oh,
game. I think it's anybody's game once the playoffs start.
I mean,
well, yeah.
Cowboys D. I mean,
Okay.
hello.
Yeah, that was a great trade for you. Lions straight up for Cowboys, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yep. Ask Cheese about that one.
Yeah. Oh, I've already asked him before. He says, well, the Lions' playoff schedule is way better
Cheese
than the
has
Cowboys.
said Pusa saved his season, but I think it's the
No,
opposite.
Pook saved my
I-
season.
And you said Pusa. Stop denying that you
Look,
said
my
Pusa.
reasoning for against Cowboys was that week 14, 15,
Oh,
16,
yeah, their
and
playoff
17,
schedule's pretty ass.
they play
Yeah.
incredibly
Well,
good.
but you got to get
offenses.
to those weeks first.
Yes, you do have to
And
get
the
there.
Cowboys
But
probably
my
would help
reasoning is
you
that if
have
Pusa
got.
gets there, you'll have no help in those weeks.
Okay. All right.
That's the reasoning.
All right. All right. So Pussy, you're gonna get the win. And there's no chance of meeting Matt at the strip club after you beat him, huh?
Yeah. Okay. I'll comment on that.
Okay.
No, there is zero chance.
Hmm.
He could rob me, and I have a
Okay.
Hyundai Sonata, which Hyundai Sonatas can easily be stolen because they can break the window, get in the door, and then use an Apple charger to fucking start the engine.
God.
Where
Oh.
in St. Louis
Has
are
this
you?
been happened to you before?
Damn,
This
no
happens
fucking-
all over
but-
St. Louis.
Okay. So have you thought about trading that Sonata in for something else then?
Well, I have push start, so
Oh.
but
I hope Matt watches the show this week.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
If he's
Alright,
not busy
let's
with the
move
kids.
on.
All right.
but
Moving
no,
on.
yeah, he's this is a fuck situation. He needs to get his life together. Moving on.
Yeah, one could argue his fantasy season went downhill as soon as his life started to go downhill. It's an interesting correlation there. All right, moving on to the next matchup of the week. We have a big one for Tyler.
Projected to lose.
Can he pull off a win against the hottest team right now in Bill? Bill at 7-4, looking to aim for that first bye for the bye. Tyler in last place, looking to try to crawl out of last place with a win here. At the moment, Sleeper thinks he's going to get it 116 to 114. So interesting score line. Bill has Josh Allen against the Eagles. Jonathan Taylor back off bye against Tampa Bay. Kamara back off bye against Atlanta. Those could be pretty decent for those running backs. Keenan Allen, after his big weeks, he has a decent test against Baltimore. That could be a very big game. Baltimore's defense look pretty good, so we'll see how Allen performs there. Pittman against Tampa Bay. Kincaid against the Eagles as well. And Nico Collins after his nice week against Jacksonville in that sneaky shootout. Folk against Carolina, and the Baltimore defense against that Keenan Allen and those Chargers on Sunday night. On Tyler's side, Lamar Jackson against the Chargers. So that Sunday night game is going to be a huge matchup for this matchup to determine who possibly wins, because he has Eckler as well on Sunday night. Newly acquired Ramondre Stevenson against the Giants could be a decent matchup there for him. Drake London against the Saints. Hollywood Brown after his horrible week last week against the Rams this week. Maybe he does a little better. Trey McBride against the Rams. Hopkins after his touchdown against Carolina could be decent. Patterson on Thanksgiving. And the Giants defense against New England. All right. It's a tough one, but I'm obviously going to take Bill. I just like a lot of his players a little bit more than Tyler's players, especially in the wide receiver department. I think Bill's going to have a big advantage there with Allen and Pittman and Nico compared to Hollywood and Drake London and Hopkins. Interesting, though, Derrick Henry's on the bench against Carolina. You would think he would put him in, wouldn't you? Like, take out one of his wide receivers and put Derrick. I mean, he's playing Carolina. Yeah, but he's playing Carolina. I mean, that could be a pretty decent.
I would take out Drake London, maybe.
That might be the worst game of the week. The Titans versus the
Okay.
Panthers.
We'll see what Tyler does. He's got some options. That's one thing with this trade. It's created some options for him to start. Although he's also got Godwin as well against the Colts on his bench. See, this is we had this talk about Tyler's team about 6 weeks ago about how he had all these options. He had all these options on who to play, and he kept starting the wrong guys. And now it seems like he's back in that position a little bit this week, where he's got a lot of guys on the bench to possibly start. No, I'm not starting. I'm not setting his lineup for him. I want him to lose.
Stacked is Bill.
I'm saying maybe he hasn't set his lineup yet.
Maybe he hasn't set it. Okay.
Maybe.
It's fair.
Maybe he's still thinking.
Yeah, that's fair.
Stacked is Bill's team. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's got Monty on the bench. Yeah, Waddle on the bench. Bill's got a very, very strong team, as I said. He made a couple moves, and they were the right ones. So, I obviously, like I said, I'm going to take Bill. I think his team's a lot better. Tyler's got a lot of decisions to make, and I don't know if he'll make them all the right decisions. So I'm going to take Bill in this one to get a pretty, easy 15-point victory. Cheese.
As I said, every week since our playoff predictions.
Yep. Bill.
Regular season Bill is him, so
okay.
We'll keep it rolling. I do think it'll be closer if Tyler makes the correct roster changes. He does have good matchups, but Bill's team right now is looking unstoppable.
Okay. Rat.
I think Bill wins pretty easy. 15 to 20 point win. Like everybody said, what hurts is thinking about those roster changes, because then you just overthink and you panic and you just the wrong guys. He puts Drake London on the bench.
Yeah.
He could all of a sudden have a 25-point game, and then
it's tough decisions. They're all kind of equal players.
His whole bench is actually decent players, and he just doesn't know who to start.
But see, that's the problem. They're all kind of on the same level, so
Tyler
it's like, who do you start?
Earlier in the season, and it's just backfiring for both.
Okay. Zombie. Who's winning this matchup?
First off, why the fuck are we on Sunday night again? Fucking, all we're gonna do is get blown out and then I'm gonna have to watch this stupid ass fucking
You're at
coach
home?
cry
Oh.
like a little baby after in the press conference.
There it is. The Chargers collapse. Came early this year though, Zombie. At least it wasn't towards the playoffs.
Did they fire Staley yet? Did I miss that?
They didn't yet, but
No.
it's probably coming if they don't win this week, I would think.
I'm going with Bill.
Okay. All right. And Pussy, who's winning?
Let me scan the lineups real quick.
Should be easy.
Tyler versus Bill.
Yeah, Bill's winning this.
Okay.
Easy.
All right. Well, we all picked Bill. We'll see if Tyler can somehow pull off a big upset that he desperately needs at 4-7 in last place at the moment. All right.
Match of the week.
Yes, moving on to, you're right, I will call
The
this
eighth
the
week.
matchup of the week. Obviously, we kind of skipped over the revenge factor in all these matchups. Who won between Matt and
I got it.
Pussy
Let me check.
in week
All right,
number
It was
one?
Matt, 'cause
one.
started
Matt
at
definitely
81.
did.
No.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Matt definitely
Week
did.
one,
Oh, you think one?
Pusa,
Oh, wait, no,
Pusa
he did.
won.
Oh.
Let me fucking talk.
What,
Okay,
what,
go ahead.
Who won?
But
Pusa
Who
won
won?
in a shit
Okay,
fest,
yeah, sorry.
89
Oh.
to 78.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So Matt's looking for revenge there. All right, Bill versus Tyler.
Bill also won in a shit fest, 80
Okay.
to 79.
All right, so we'll see if Tyler can get revenge. All right, and I know who won in. Wait, do I? Yeah,
Yeah, it was
didn't
Ernie.
Ernie win?
Ernie
Yep.
won
Yep.
in dominating fashion, 137 to 90.
All right, so Ernie's looking to go 2-0 versus Pook this week, which honestly, if Ernie doesn't win the whole thing, obviously Ernie would want to win the whole thing first. But if he doesn't, I think his second consolation prize would be going 2-0 versus Pook this year to hold over him for the whole year. So obviously it's a big AIDS potential matchup here. Both teams 5-6, which makes it even bigger when you add all the aids to the record and what's at stake. Right at the moment, Sleeper has Pook projected to win 111 to 104. Pook has CJ Stroud against Jacksonville. Like we already said, could be a sneaky shootout game. Could be a good game for Stroud. Bijan Robinson back in the mix after the bye. We'll see if he gets a lot more touches after the bye against the Saints. Barkley, after his huge game against the Patriots, could also be decent again for Barkley, as the Patriots aren't anything. Joshua Downs makes an appearance in the lineup against Tampa Bay. Mike Evans against the Colts. Dalton Schultz against Jacksonville. And Chris Olave against Atlanta. And then Myers against the 49ers on Thursday. And the Dolphins on that Friday game against the Jets. The first time ever we have a Black Friday game, and it's Jets Dolphins. Could be a massive disappointment on Black Friday, but Miami should feast in that game even with the quarterback change. On Ernie's side, Joshua Dobbs on Monday night against Chicago. Christian McCaffrey on Turkey Day on Thursday night. Could be good. It's Christian McCaffrey. He'll do his normal thing. Newly acquired Gus Bus in the lineup against the Chargers on Sunday night. That's actually a decent matchup for Gus Bus, as the Chargers are horrible on defense and will probably get run over. It's just a matter, can Edwards get into the end zone down on the goal line like he's been doing most of the season? Newly acquired Tyler Boyd in there against Pittsburgh. I don't know about that. With no quarterback, no Joe Burrow. Ernie does know Joe Burrow got hurt, right? Against Pittsburgh's defense as well. I don't know about that, but we'll see if he leaves him in there. Jordan Addison in there. We'll see if Jefferson plays. If he does, then I'm assuming he'll take out Boyd and put Jefferson and Addison both. So he'll have all those Monday night guys with Dobbs. I don't know, though, how the Dobbs to Addison connection's hasn't been doing great, so we'll see if he can have a nice game. Laporta on Thursday against Green Bay. James Conner in the flex against the Rams, and Tucker against the Chargers, and Minnesota against Chicago. So Ernie once again rolling with all those Minnesota boys, and I'm sure he'll put Jefferson in and keep Addison and keep the Vikings and keep Dobbs. So a big Monday night game could come down to Monday night for Ernie. He'll need a lot of points possibly if he keeps all them in. Who else does Ernie have? He has Beckham and Dobbs against Detroit and Njigba. I mean, I guess he has some options for Boyd. I don't understand the Boyd play. Is T. Higgins out? I don't even think it really matters at this point. I don't even think it really matters, though, if T. Higgins is out at this point, because the downgrade from Burrow to this quarterback, I think, is going to be a massive.
This is what happened last week.
And they're
didn't
playing
set a lineup until the final day.
Okay, so maybe he'll change it eventually, but You know what? I'm going to take Pook. I think Pook's lineup overall is just stronger. If Jefferson somehow does play, then I'll give the edge to Ernie slightly. But just because if Jefferson plays, I think it gets 20 plus, which could be big for Ernie. But at the moment, the way I'm seeing the lineup, I'm going to go with Pook to get a win. He has some good matchups, and his lineup's back fully in pretty full strength. So I'm going to take Pook to get the win. Cheese, who's winning?
Pook's gonna keep his season alive.
Ooh, okay.
Strong running backs. Ernie's, he banked his whole season on Jefferson coming back.
Yeah.
And
well, he still could come back this week. It's not official yet, so.
He's not. And
okay.
I mean,
it would make sense to keep him out this week with the bye next week.
It really would.
But you never know.
McCaffrey obviously great. Dobbs will be fine. Like the rest, like Boyd and Addison. James Conner's like mid.
Okay. All right. All right. Rat.
My boy Ernie will win this.
Okay.
Pook's season's over.
Why are you calling that
Ernie
again?
Comments.
Hold on. Wait. Why are you calling Pook's season over? Every time we've done that, his season hasn't been over.
I did not mean to say that from my comments. From Ernie. Personal comments from Ernie.
Okay.
To deliver on the show.
Yep.
Your season is over. You adopted fuck. Your parents left you for this reason, and that's what Ernie wanted me to say about
Oh my
Pook.
God. Okay.
So, Pook, apparently your season's fucked because you're adopted and nobody loves you, buddy. So you're done. That's the comments that I needed to deliver. There you go.
And you're picking Ernie as well.
I'm picking Ernie. Yes.
Okay. Zombie, who's winning?
I'm going with my boy Pook.
Wow, your boy Pook over Ernie. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
Why do you think start everything with my boy?
Yeah, it's always your boy, but I've barely ever heard you say my boy Pook. It's usually my boy who's ever facing Pook. Wow. Okay.
Whoa.
All right. Pussy, who's winning?
Let me do my scan of the lineups. Stroud
do you not listen
Dobbs,
when I go over the lineups?
McCaffrey, Robinson.
He just likes the lucky again.
Dude, Pook is. I think Pook has a decent team. He loses every week though.
Well, he didn't last week, but.
Okay. 5 and 6 ain't every week.
Yeah.
I think Ernie's gonna win. I think Addison's actually gonna.
You think Ernie's gonna win? You said.
Yeah, I think Ernie's gonna win. I think Jefferson's gonna play.
Wow. Okay, so some big predictions.
So I think it'll be Jefferson, Addison. That's like, and he has Dobbs. Oh fuck, he's got the Vikings pass attack. That's
and
scary.
The Viking defense. Yeah.
Yeah. No, if Jefferson gets healthy, Ernie's team might win.
Really? Okay. All right, moving on to the next matchup. We have Zach after his big win versus me last week at 4-7 versus Slaps at 5-6 after his big win, looking to keep it rolling and get himself in the playoffs. This is another big matchup for the standings. Obviously, if Zach loses and Tyler wins, then Zach finds himself back in the bottom. So a big one here. Zach currently projected, look at how close this is. This is almost a tie, which Zach loves ties. 111.56 to 111.29. Wow. Zach has Tua on that Friday game against the Jets. Corn rolls Tua. Rachaad White after his big game last week as well against the Colts. That's a pretty decent matchup for White. I expect him to do pretty good. Singletary, who has been coming on the scene with Pierce out. Maybe with Pierce back, Singletary still might be the lead guy after his big games these last few weeks. Against Jacksonville could be decent. Jamar Chase, obviously a big hit with no Burrow. Against Pittsburgh's defense as well. I don't know how Chase is going to get the points, but we'll see if he can somehow scrap together like a 15, 20-point game somehow. Maybe he just gets a lot of targets and a lot of short catches or something, and it adds up. As well, Amari Cooper with no quarterback against Denver. He did nothing last week. So Zach has two wide receivers that are very talented, but do they have a decent enough quarterback that can actually get them the ball? We'll see. Kittle against Seattle on Thursday night. Kittle's been popping off recently. Should be a good game. Zay Flowers in the flex against those Chargers on Sunday night. Zay Flowers had a huge catch and run for a touchdown this past week that would have been massive points, but there was a flag. So he has been looking good recently. And, if maybe he gets one of those big type of plays against that horrible Chargers defense that actually will stand this time. We'll see. Carlson against Kansas City and the Kansas City defense against the Raiders. Raiders have been playing a little bit better, but Kansas City's defense is pretty good. So we also have to look out. Zach has Raheem Mostert on the bench in case Achane is out. Maybe he decides to throw him in somewhere. We'll see. On Slaps' side, he's got Herbert against Baltimore on that Sunday night game, so both players have some players in that. Pollard, newly acquired against Washington on Thursday, Turkey Day, good matchup, should be pretty decent for Pollard. Mixon against Pittsburgh could be okay. You would figure they'll run the ball a little bit more, and Mixon's been running it good recently. St. Brown on Thanksgiving as well, so a lot of Slaps team is either Thursday, Sunday night. St. Brown against Green Bay should have a very nice game on Thanksgiving. Christian Kirk against Houston could be decent. Ferguson against Washington as well on Thursday. Garrett Wilson on Friday against Miami. Hopkins against Denver. And Pittsburgh's defense against Cincinnati with no quarterback. Obviously, that could be a very high-scoring defense for the week. Like that matchup a lot with that quarterback in there. I think this one's going to be really close like Sleeper projects. I think this could be high scoring as well, like over 120 for both. I like a lot of both teams' matchups, and a lot of their players are pretty hot right now. I really just think the difference in this matchup is going to come down to the wide receivers. I think Slaps has the edge just based on Zach's two guys not having quarterbacks. So I don't know how many points they're going to get. Last week they both got under 10 with no quarterback. So we'll see if that continues. I think Slaps' guys do better. I think Garrett Wilson does better with the new quarterback change, just gets some more catches. I think St. Brown's going to pop off. Kirk could do okay. So I think Slaps has the edge there, and I think that's going to be the difference. Other than that, both teams have good running backs and quarterbacks. So I'm going to take Slaps in a close one. Cheese, who's winning?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really close. I don't know. It's tough. I think that let's also pull it out just because I don't like Zach's wide receivers.
Okay.
I don't know how Chase can do with that other QB, and then Denver. I don't know who's. I mean, that rookie who throws the Coopers like hit or miss.
Yep.
So I think
Maybe Joe Flacco gets in there though. I don't know if that will help him much, but
I don't.
I mean, Joe Flacco's how old now?
So I think Slaps has a slight advantage, but it will be a close matchup for sure.
Okay. Rat.
I think in honor of this, it will be a tie.
A tie? Wow. I
Yeah.
almost picked a tie, just because of how close
And
it's projected.
It's going to come down to Justin Herbert needing a couple points on Sunday night, but sucking ass and not going to be able to deliver, and it's going to
Okay.
be, he's going to give about 4 points, and it's going to be a tie. 4 points from Justin Herbert.
Wow. That's a big prediction there. I mean, Baltimore's defense is good, but Herbert's good enough to do better than 4. Okay. Interesting. Zombie, who's winning?
Wait, Gray, you're such a dumb fucking piece of
Fuck
shit.
your Chargers, buddy.
I'm going with my boy, Slaps.
I like how you pause after you say my boy because we have no clue who the fuck you're talking
Everybody's
about
your
when
boy
you say
besides me.
my boy. You could easily say my boy Zach or my boy Slap. Nobody fucking knows at this point because you use it for everybody. All right, just out of curiosity, Zombie. Obviously, you can't be feeling good about your Chargers actually winning this game on Sunday night, right?
What? They're not gonna win.
Okay, thank you. I was just making sure you weren't delusional enough to still have hope that they're gonna win the games. Okay. All right, and
I don't want them to win.
You don't want them to win. Okay, so you
That
want
pussy
them just to
scandalous.
shut it all down and fire the coach?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Pussy, who's winning this matchup?
I would hold on. Would you pull up my thing from a couple of weeks ago when we predicted the standings.
We'll look at these right after this. Make your prediction,
Okay.
then we'll look at them. Because I don't have a panic segment.
I'm gonna
Oh,
pick
still
Zach.
one more matchup
I'm
left.
gonna pick
Yeah,
Zach.
well, after the
and,
matchup, we will.
because Zach's team is actually pretty good.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
And
Wait. Are you implying that Slaps' team isn't good by saying that Zach's team is good?
no,
Oh,
Slaps'
okay.
team is pretty good too.
Okay.
I'm just saying, but oh fuck, actually, Burrow's out. But no, Zach. I wanted to just say that. I mean, I predicted Zach to fucking get back in the mix, and when he had one win.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Well, yeah, he's back in the mix. So, okay. So you're saying Zach's gonna pull it up?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think so.
All right, we'll see. That's a big one. All right, and then moving on to the final matchup of the week. This is sneaky game of the week, just because it's Cheese versus Rat. They have many bets versus each other. They shit on each other's personal teams all the time, and now they're going head to head for the second time this season in fantasy. Oh, by the way, who won the first time around versus Pook?
Rat
No,
won.
versus Zach and Slaps.
Oh.
Who cares? Fuck
No,
those
I'm
people.
checking. Shut up.
I think didn't didn't
Slaps
Slaps get
won.
the kick return? Wasn't this the game
Oh,
where
yeah, that was
he got the
a
kick return from the
Toilet
Jets?
bowl game,
Yep,
93
the
to
defense
90.
lost points.
Yeah, wasn't Zach looking like he was gonna win, and then
Yep.
Slaps got that
Yeah,
crushing.
And then
lost the
Zach
party.
Oh,
AFK
this is.
for like a month.
Oh yeah, Oh god. So Slaps has a chance to do that same type of thing to Zach again if he beats him a second time in some heartbreaking fashion. Oh boy. All right. Back to the final game. As I said, possible huge matchup here between Cheese at 5-6, looking to get a victory to get himself stronger position for the playoff. Rat looking to continue his first place run and stay in first place with the win, 7-4 at the moment. Sleeper has a tight, high-scoring matchup. Cheese projected a win at the moment, 121 to 120. Wow. Cheese, Dak Prescott on Thursday afternoon against Washington should be a pretty decent matchup for Prescott. Kyren Williams back against Arizona. Good, decent matchup there for Kyren. We'll see how he plays coming back. Gibbs on Thursday as well, so another big player on Thursday. CD on Thursday. It's Washington, so a lot of Thanksgiving Day players for Cheese. This lineup going to be big. Puka Nacua on Sunday against Arizona. If Kupp is out, that could be very big for Nacua. Evan Ingram against Houston also could be sneaky good. Deontay Johnson, after his rough game, he's facing Cincinnati this week, who you would figure is going to be down after Burrow's injury. And with the offensive coordinator change, maybe that helps Deontay Johnson get back with some good points. Young Oku against the Saints, and the Detroit defense against Jordan Love and Green Bay on Thanksgiving as well. So almost half of Cheese's team on Thursday. On Rat's side, he has the Mahomes Chiefs stack against the Raiders. Looking for a big bounce back game after their bad loss to the Eagles in that second half on offense. See if he can pick it up. Achane staying in there on Friday. We'll see if he actually does play against those Jets. If he doesn't, then what? You're starting James Cook against the Eagles, I would assume.
Yep.
All right. Breece Hall on Friday as well. So a lot of Friday players in that Jets-Miami game for Rats team. Tyreek Hill as well. So that's a big Friday game for Rats team. Terry McLaurin on Thursday against Dallas. So some Thursday players as well in that Dallas game. Travis Kelce against the Raiders. DJ Moore on Monday nights. So you do have a Monday night player as well. Aubrey on Thursday as well, and this is San Francisco on Thursday. Jesus. So this matchup will be heavily decided after Thursday. You're only going to have, let's see, Cheese will have 1, 2, 3, 4 players
I have my Rams
left.
boys and
Yeah.
actually. I have a
Oh,
decent
no,
amount of
5.
players,
Yeah,
so
you have Kyron as well. Yeah,
I have a decent amount of players.
Rat has Friday, so Rat only has 1.
Rat has way less players
2.
remaining after.
Rat only has 2 players on Sunday. His Chiefs.
Monday. DJ Moore on Monday.
I know, but I'm saying on Sunday he only has his Chiefs stack playing. All the other players are on a different day. So. Yeah. Okay, so interesting matchup here. Lots going to be happen on Thursday. Let's see. It's a tough one. Both teams have some good matchups and some players that are hot.
Matchup of the week for a reason.
I don't think Achane's playing, or if he does play, I think he's playing very limited.
Well, Rat can explain himself, but he says he's playing him anyway, even if he gets hurt.
Well, yeah, if he's playing, if he is good to actually play in the game, I'm assuming he's gonna play him. But I don't think he's gonna get a lot of snaps. Is my thing. So I think, but I also don't know how Kyron's gonna do coming back in his first game. I'm gonna take Cheese just because I think the Chiefs stack does okay, but I don't think they do huge, and I don't think the Dolphins do as good against the Jets as a lot of people think they should, because that Jets defense is sneaky. So I'm gonna give Cheese a slight advantage. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna predict a tie. Fuck it. It's too close. I'm predicting my first ever tie. My first ever tie that I've ever predicted will be this week with Cheese and Rat. All right.
Before you do say something else,
Yes.
I can easily predict Zombie's thing. I want to mimic Zombie, and I want to.
You're gonna say he's
thing.
gonna. I think we all know he's gonna pick Cheese.
What? My
He wants to be
boy
passy.
Cheese.
Yeah, he wants to pass you. All right. Zombie, go ahead. Who's winning this match?
Zombie.
Wait, did he join back?
I don't know. Where the fuck did he go?
No, he left.
God,
Okay, Pussy, who's winning this matchup?
Who's playing?
Cheese and Rat.
So you're here?
Rat's gonna win this. It's gonna be a blowout.
A blowout? Wow.
Oh
Oh my God. Okay.
I did think so.
Really? Okay. Interesting. So we have one tie and we have one prediction of a blowout for Rat. All right. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead,
Cheese, go ahead.
Buddy, I won the last matchup. I'm letting you go first.
Oh, okay. If Rat won the first time, then yeah, Cheese, you have to predict first.
All right, fine. Dak has the best QB matchup out of anybody this week. Caution allows the most points to QBs.
Okay.
That also boosts CD, so that's really good matchups there.
Okay.
Gibbs is going to pop off on rivalry game versus Green Bay. Kyron was healthy last week, I think, but because of IR, he couldn't come back till this week.
Okay.
And they also waived Daryl Henderson, so he's good to go.
Okay.
Puka is going to pop off, especially with Kupp kind of banged up. Ingram has a good matchup. Matt Canada's fired. So I think my team has really good matchups, good trends. It's going to be a tough matchup. I think it's going to be a high scoring, very close one against Rat. I do agree with you, though. I think the Jets will make that game competitive.
Okay.
And the Dolphins are frauds, so something to look for. And then I don't think Scary Terry will do much.
Okay.
But I do think it will be close.
All right. Rat, are you getting this win to stay at the first?
Yes. And like you said, high scoring game. After watching last night's game and watching a wide receiver drop a wide open pass, I don't think Patrick Mahomes will ever throw to anybody else but Travis Kelce.
I mean, Kelce dropped a pass as well, and
Kelce
fumbled.
was passes all
okay, but that happens once for Kelce out of 100, and their bum-ass wide receivers suck, and they drop it all the time.
I mean, Justin Watson kept running horrible routes and dropping the ball, and yet he still kept throwing to him.
You said about limited snaps with Achane. He's basically played limited snaps, not that many snaps every game, and he still puts up 7-yard runs with those 1 to 8 snaps a game. So I'm expecting a big run. Tyreek Hill, Sauce Gardner is cooked. Breece Hall, Miami's going to be shitting on them, and Breece Hall is going to be getting checkdowns and trying to join in the passing game, so that would be good. And Terry, I'm hoping for 5 to 10 points.
5 to 10.
That's all I'm asking for.
That's a big outlook for
That's
Terry.
all I'm asking for. And James Cook could sneak in there, obviously, if Achane's not playing.
Okay.
Obviously,
and I will mention, if James Cook does sneak in there, it's not a great matchup for him.
Well, yeah, I know that. That's why I'm trying not to play him.
I don't know. I think it'll be very tight, but we'll know a lot after Friday. We'll know a big
Yes, obviously.
We'll see. We'll need to know who the Miracles are going to need.
I mean, yeah, it basically comes down to your Rams boys versus Rats Chiefs boys after Friday. So who's
Look,
ever winning or whatever, that'll be big.
I think the Rams are hungry for a win. Arizona sucks. So good.
Okay, all right. Okay, so there we have it. Those are the matchups for this week. Real quick, since Pussy asked, we will look real quick at how those predictions for the season are looking. Let me find them here.
God damn, you have a lot of folders.
Yeah.
Do I have folders, dumbass?
Buddy, there's like 7,000. Mine aren't looking the worst.
All right, so let's see here. So Rat had himself predicted for first, so that is
going out.
correct at the moment. He's 7-4, so he has to win his final 3 games to hit his correct record projection. He had Zombie in second at 9-5. That's not that far off. This is where it gets a little shaky. He had
Yeah.
Matt ahead of Bill. I don't think Matt's trending to finish
Oh,
ahead of
that's
Bill.
fucked.
Or get to 9 wins. Matt would have to win out to get to the 9 wins, so that's not looking too great. Then he had me in fifth at 7-7. Obviously, that could happen. Ernie at 7-7, that could happen. Pook at 7-7 could happen as well. Slaps could be 7-7 and maybe miss the playoffs just on the points. So all that could actually happen. It might just be the fact that you put Matt ahead of Bill
Okay.
that fucks
Oh, and-
your
oh,
whole
well,
predictions.
The
I
bottom
don't really
two.
want to get to the bottom.
Oh, you had. I thought you said you had Zach winning games.
We all chat on Zach.
Oh my
I am
god.
also winning more than
He's
5
getting down
games.
there.
Did it?
No,
So
you're not,
who
buddy.
who was the one that? Oh, it was Pussy that said he believed in Zach to win some games. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's not looking the best at the bottom there for Zach to. Obviously, the record can't happen.
Oh,
but-
Cheese could.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna win at least one more.
No, a lot of it looks actually like a pretty decent chance of happening. The records a little bit are a little off for a couple teams. All right. Looking at Cheeses, he had
Oh yeah.
he had Matt in
I
first
thought
place
Matt's-
at
Yeah,
11-3,
because
so
of
that's
it.
impossible. I mean,
Yeah.
he could somehow. I mean, I don't even
No,
know if
Wait.
he.
no.
How did he have Bill at 8-6 if he said he's not? What the fuck?
Yeah, so that doesn't look like it's happening.
My predictions are trash.
Rat in second, he could finish second at 10-4 still.
But he got me at
Bill
10-4.
8-6. Zombie maybe at
That's
8-6. Yeah. Then me at 7-7 definitely looks like it
Zach.
could happen. Ernie at 7-7 could happen. Cheese at 7-7 could happen. Pook at 6-8. Maybe. Tyler. Then you had Zach though at the 1-13 and
Yeah,
last.
mine are worse. Rats are the
Slaps, you had him at 5-9. I mean, that could happen if he loses all his remaining games, but Rats is definitely looking better than Cheeses.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
was bad.
Zombie had himself at 10-4.
Everybody had Matt up there.
That
Yeah.
could still happen. Zombie 7-4, so he could still win. Then he had Matt at 10-4. That
Everybody's
cannot
Matt
happen.
predictions.
Yeah, Rat not good.
Wow, everybody
Bill.
had Bill.
Yeah, they had Bill, but they didn't have him as high up as he's trending. I mean, he could still finish 8-6. It's not no guarantee. Then me 7-7 obviously could happen. Then Zombie said the 6-8 will make the playoffs in the final 2 spots. I mean that probably
That
not
could
2
happen.
spots, but 7 could definitely be 6-8. So he said Tyler was getting in. Obviously Tyler needs to win out. Well, not win out. He has to win.
Better
Wait.
than-
Yeah, he has. If he wins all
He
3,
needs a
7-7.
miracle.
So yeah, he could still
He's
get
won
in.
7.
Ernie missing the playoffs. I mean, that could happen if Jefferson doesn't come back. Slaps down there. Then he had Zach. He had Zach at 3-11. Zach has 4 wins already, but he could still finish last. Cheese are at 4-10 at the bottom. That can't happen. So
Yeah, fuck you.
not horrible, but I think Rat still looks a little bit better than this. All right. Pussy is Pussy here. He wanted to see his prediction. He had
Yeah,
Rat
I am
in
here.
first place at 9-5. So I mean, Rat could get first. Could get
Somebody had
9-5.
Matt too high.
Matt
God damn.
9-5. I mean, he would have to win out and beat you this week to have any chance of that
Ain't
happening.
gonna happen.
Yeah. Zombie 9-5. Then he had me at 8-6. That probably is not gonna happen. Bill at 7-7. I mean, Bill would have to collapse these last 3 games to get 7-7. Slaps could get 7-7, make it. Yourself, you only had yourself at 6-8. Interesting. I mean, you could make the playoffs at 6-8 theoretically, but it'd be interesting Interesting there. Ernie missing 6 and 8, Tyler 6 and 8. He had Zach winning games, so this could happen. The bottom Zach could finish last at 4 and 10. He's 4 and 7 right now if he loses his last 3 games. So overall, just the Matt being a little too high, and then me being ahead of Bill. That part doesn't look like it's gonna happen. That's kind of the part that you're off on. And then myself, I had Rat at 10 and 4. That looks like that could happen. Zombie at 10 and 4. That could still happen.
Ooh, Ernie too high.
That was. I mean, Ernie could get 8 and 6. Now,
No.
can he get all the way to third ahead of Bill? I don't know. Probably not. Myself at 8 and 6. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Matt at 8 and 6. He could finish 8 and 6. So the records could be right. I don't know if the positions though are going to be right because I think Bill will definitely finish ahead of a lot of these teams if we're all 8 and 6 because Bill's points for is a lot better than most of these. At 7 and 7, yeah, I could have all the right playoff teams. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I could have all the right playoff teams.
I think Matt at 5th is actually pretty accurate.
Maybe,
No,
yeah.
Matt's dropping out.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I had Tyler making a run to get up there. I don't know if that's going to happen. I would definitely switch Tyler and Slaps if I could redo this right now. Also, I'd put Cheese up higher. Pussy, I definitely would just put up higher. I mean, the records don't look great because they're already all at 5, those people that have.
Yeah.
And Zach, I had at 2 and 12
940, Mom,
and last. So that doesn't look as good. But playoff-wise, I mean, there's really nobody, because the standings are toes tight, there's really nobody's playoff, because remember, if you predict all 7 playoff teams correctly, you get $10. If you predicted the whole order correctly, you get $20. So the orders aren't looking the best for everybody, but I mean, with how tight the standings are, nobody's predictions really out yet on who can't make the playoffs. I would say with Zombies, Pook and Tyler both making it is probably going to be tough, but not impossible. Let's see. Cheese had Ernie making it, Cheese making it. I mean, that could happen. I mean, Pooks could be right. Or Cheeses could all still make the playoffs. And obviously, Rats could all still make the playoffs. Pook could sneak in that last spot. So yeah, I like everyone. I mean, everyone still has a chance because the standings are so tight. All right, so that is it for this week's show. We will catch you back here after Thanksgiving. Everyone have a good Thanksgiving. We'll catch you back here next week to see what happens in a crazy week 12.